Other customers watched in horror as three drunk men became increasingly aggressive toward waitress Lisa Martinez. The men had started with disrespectful comments, then began inappropriately touching the woman while she served, and finally tried to push her around. Some customers pulled out their phones to call for help, others froze in fear. But none of them knew that this quiet woman, who had been working double shifts for 2 years to save every penny for her 8-year-old daughter, had once been decorated for valor in combat zones across Afghanistan. It was 11:30 p.m. at Romano's Diner when Lisa Martinez began counting down the final hour of her shift. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as the 35-year-old woman wiped down tables, her mind already focused on tomorrow morning when she would wake up her daughter Emma for school. The former Marine had learned to find peace in routine, the predictable rhythm of late-night customers, the familiar weight of coffee pots, the simple satisfaction of honest work. But tonight would be different in ways no one could have imagined. 3 men stumbled through the door, their laughter too loud, their movements unsteady. Lisa Martinez recognized the type immediately. Construction workers from the job site down the road, still in their work clothes, seeking one last drink before heading home. The waitress had served hundreds like them over the past 2 years, always maintaining her professional demeanor, even when they became overly familiar. What these 3 men didn't realize was that their choice of target would be the biggest mistake of their lives. "Evening, gentlemen," Lisa Martinez said warmly, leading them to a corner booth. "Coffee or something to eat?" The largest of the 3 men, a burly individual with graying hair and calloused hands, looked the waitress up and down slowly. Well, the man said to his companions. "Look what we got here, boys. A real beauty working the night shift." The waitress's smile remained steady, though something flickered in her eyes, a brief flash of assessment that would have been familiar to anyone who had served alongside her in the Marines. Lisa Martinez cataloged exits, noted the positions of other customers, and evaluated potential threats. Old habits died hard for the combat veteran. "Just coffee for now, sweetheart," the man continued, his words slurring slightly. "But maybe you can tell us what else is on the menu." The comment drew snickers from his 2 companions. Lisa Martinez simply nodded and headed to the coffee station, her movements controlled and purposeful. The former Marine had dealt with inappropriate customers before. The key was to remain professional, keep them satisfied, and get them out as quickly as possible. But as the night progressed, these men would push boundaries that would awaken something they weren't prepared for. The 3 men's comments became increasingly crude. When Lisa Martinez brought their coffee, one of them accidentally brushed his hand against hers, holding contact longer than necessary. Another made inappropriate jokes about what he would like to order that wasn't on the menu. The other customers began to notice the harassment. An elderly couple in the corner booth exchanged worried glances. A truck driver at the counter kept looking over his shoulder toward the troublesome table. A young woman with her laptop pulled out her phone, her thumb hovering over the emergency dial. None of them suspected that the quiet waitress they were watching had once led Marines through some of the most dangerous territory on Earth. "You know what your problem is?" the leader of the group said as Lisa Martinez refilled their cups for the 3rd time. "You're too uptight. You need to learn how to have some fun." As the waitress turned to leave, the man's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. The coffee pot shook slightly in Lisa Martinez's other hand, but her voice remained steady. "Sir, I need you to let go of my arm," the waitress said calmly. "Come on, honey," the drunk man replied, his grip tightening. "Don't be like that. We're just being friendly." The truck driver stood up from his stool, cell phone in hand. "Hey, leave her alone," the man called out. But the intoxicated customer's grip only tightened further. "Mind your own business, old man," he snarled. "We're just having a conversation with the waitress." What happened next would transform a quiet Tuesday night into a lesson these men would never forget. That's when the second drunk man made his critical mistake. As Lisa Martinez tried to pull away, he reached up and grabbed her hip, pulling her closer to the table. The third man laughed and made an explicit comment about what he would like to do after closing time. The diner fell silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights. In that moment of silence, something fundamental shifted, and the three construction workers were about to discover why you should never judge someone by their current job. Lisa Martinez set the coffee pot down on the table with deliberate care. When the woman looked up, something had fundamentally changed in her expression. The professional smile was gone, replaced by a cold, calculating look that would have been instantly recognizable to her former squad mates in Helmand Province. "Gentlemen," the waitress said quietly, her voice now carrying a new authority, "you have exactly 5 seconds to remove your hands before this situation becomes very unpleasant for you." The leader laughed, tightening his grip on the woman's wrist. "Oh yeah?" He taunted. "What's a little waitress going to do about it?" The answer to that question would shock everyone in the diner. Lisa Martinez's response was swift and precise. Using a technique the former Marine had learned in combat training, she twisted her wrist in a specific motion that broke the man's grip instantly, simultaneously striking a pressure point that sent shooting pain up his arm. Before the drunk customer could react, the woman's other hand had locked onto his thumb, bending it at an angle that made him gasp in shock. What I'm going to do," Lisa Martinez said calmly, applying just enough pressure to get the man's full attention, "is give you the opportunity to apologize to every person in this diner and leave quietly." The second man started to stand, but the waitress's free hand shot out and pressed against a specific point on his shoulder, a nerve cluster the combat veteran had learned to target during her advanced training. The customer dropped back into his seat, his arm suddenly numb. But the biggest revelation was yet to come. 8 years in the Marines, Lisa Martinez continued conversationally, as if discussing the weather. 3 tours in Afghanistan, advanced combat training instructor, close quarters combat specialist. The woman applied slightly more pressure to the first man's thumb. "I've dealt with insurgents, IED threats, and hostile combatants in some of the most dangerous places on Earth." The 3 men's faces went white as the reality of their situation sank in. They had picked the wrong woman to mess with, and Lisa Martinez wasn't finished demonstrating exactly how wrong they had been. The third man reached for his phone, but the former Marine's gaze shifted to him with laser focus. "I wouldn't recommend that," Lisa Martinez said evenly. "Right now, this is just 3 drunk men who are about to apologize and leave. Make it a police matter, and we'll have to discuss assault, attempted battery, and sexual harassment charges." The truck driver was recording everything on his phone. The elderly couple had their devices out as well. The young woman with the laptop was already typing, probably posting the encounter to social media in real time. "Here's what's going to happen," the waitress explained, her voice remaining perfectly controlled. "You're going to stand up slowly. You're going to apologize to every single person in this diner for your behavior. You're going to leave a $20 tip for disrupting everyone's evening. And then you're going to walk out that door and never come back." Lisa Martinez released the pressure points and stepped back, but her posture remained alert, balanced on the balls of her feet in a way that spoke of years of combat training. What the 3 men did next would surprise everyone watching. The 3 men looked around the diner nervously. Every customer was watching them, several were recording, and the atmosphere had shifted completely. They were no longer predators intimidating a helpless waitress. They were public embarrassments facing a woman who clearly knew how to handle herself. "And if you're thinking about causing more trouble," the former Marine added quietly, "you should know that I memorized your license plate when you pulled up. I've got clear footage of your faces, and I have contacts in law enforcement who would be very interested in this incident." The leader of the group rubbed his wrist, staring at Lisa Martinez with a mixture of shock and grudging respect. "Jesus," the man muttered, "you really are ex-military." "I really am," the waitress confirmed, "and I really do want you to leave. Now." But what happened next caught everyone off guard. The largest man stood up slowly, pulled out his wallet, and placed a $50 bill on the table. He looked around the restaurant at the watching faces, then back at Lisa Martinez. "Ma'am, we apologize," the man said, his voice now sober and contrite. "To you and to everyone here. We were way out of line." The customer paused, seeming to struggle with his words. "My daughter's about your age. If someone treated her the way we just treated you," he shook his head. "There's no excuse for it." His 2 companions stood as well, both looking genuinely ashamed. One of them mumbled an apology to the elderly couple. The other nodded respectfully to the truck driver who had stood up for the waitress. As the three men headed for the door, the leader turned back one more time. "For what it's worth, thank you for your service," the man said quietly. "And I'm sorry we made you remember things you probably wanted to forget." The aftermath would reveal just how profoundly the incident had affected everyone present. After the troublemakers left, the diner remained quiet for a long moment. Then the truck driver started clapping. The elderly couple joined in. Soon everyone in Romano's diner was applauding, and Lisa Martinez found herself fighting back tears she hadn't expected. "You okay, honey?" the elderly woman asked, approaching the counter. The waitress nodded, wiping her eyes. "Yeah, I'm okay," Lisa Martinez replied. It's been a while since I had to use those skills." The young woman with the laptop looked up from her screen. "I got the whole thing on video," she said admiringly. "That was amazing. You were incredibly calm and professional. Where did you serve?" "Helmand Province, mostly," the former Marine answered, beginning to clean up the coffee that had spilled during the confrontation. "Fob Delaram, Camp Leatherneck. Did 3 tours between 2008 and 2014. But the most important revelation was still to come. What made you become a waitress?" The truck driver asked curiously. "I mean, with those skills, you could probably do anything." Lisa Martinez smiled, the first genuine smile she had shown all evening. "I am doing what I want to do," the woman replied. "I'm raising my daughter. Emma's 8 years old, and she's the smartest, funniest, most amazing kid in the world. She doesn't know much about what mommy did before she was born, and that's okay. Right now, I'm just focused on being the best mom I can be." The waitress gestured around the diner. "This job lets me work nights while she sleeps, days when she's at school," Lisa Martinez explained. "It's honest work. It pays the bills, and it means I'm home when she needs me. That's worth more than any other career I could have." The impact of her words would resonate with everyone present. The elderly woman patted the waitress's hand gently. "You're raising her right, dear," the customer said warmly. "And tonight, you showed all of us what real strength looks like." As the night shift wound down and the customers gradually left, each one made sure to thank Lisa Martinez personally. The truck driver left an extra-large tip. The elderly couple insisted on paying for everyone's coffee. The young woman promised to post the video with a message about supporting veterans and respecting service workers. And as the night came to an end, one final realization would complete the story. At 1 a.m., as Lisa Martinez locked up Romano's diner, the former Marine thought about the phone call she would make to her daughter's school in the morning. Emma's class was doing a project about community heroes, and the 8-year-old had been struggling to think of someone to write about. The waitress smiled as she walked to her car. Maybe it was time to tell Emma a little more about what her mother had done before she was born. Not the dark parts, not the nightmares or the difficult memories, but the parts about serving others, about standing up for people who couldn't protect themselves, about the honor that came with wearing the uniform. Because tonight had reminded Lisa Martinez that some skills never fade, some values never change, and sometimes the most important battles aren't fought on foreign soil. They're fought in small diners at midnight, when ordinary people choose to do extraordinary things. The former Marine started her car and drove home to her daughter, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but confident that she could handle whatever came her way. After all, she was a mother, a veteran, and a survivor. And that combination was more powerful than any 3 drunk men would ever understand. If you enjoyed this story of hidden strength and unexpected heroes, you're in for a treat. We share incredible tales like this every single day. Stories of ordinary people with extraordinary pasts, veterans living quiet lives until the moment calls for action, and everyday heroes who prove that courage comes in many forms. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss these amazing stories. Each tale reminds us that heroes walk among us. We just have to know how to look. Like this video if Lisa's story inspired you. Subscribe for daily hero stories. Comment below. Have you ever witnessed someone show unexpected strength?